Former Disney executive explains Hollywood's clap and puts blame on DEI initiatives funded by investment firms. Surprise, surprise! We kind of already knew this, but to have someone, a former executive of Disney at that, and confirm it, oh, this is something. Monica Harris. She began by pointing to Target. I think the reason we see no course correction is the same reason we see Target market items. And I think we know which items I'm talking about that clearly don't appeal to customers. And I think this is like trans Cheerios and stuff that you're making a statement that has nothing to do with your audience and its taste. Strange analogy, but I get where she's going with it.
Yeah.
What we've seen in the corporate world is this fastidious and slavish adherence to ESG, environmental, social governance principles, which are really just DEI in practice in products and in hiring in the corporate world. So these corporations are pursuing these marketing tactics and sales tactics with products that are doomed to flop and do flop and that lower shareholder value, but they continue them nonetheless. She shared, and the deeper I've been digging, especially my work with Fair Foundation Against Intolerance and Hate, but the deeper I've been digging, I've noticed that this is happening because the same core group of companies are largely funding or have shareholder stakes, majority shareholder stakes in Fortune 500 companies and in the S&P 500. We're talking about BlackRock. We've been talking about Vanguard. We're talking about State Street. They literally in a position to tell the companies to adhere to whatever guidelines they'd like. So if DEI an initiative that these majority shareholders would like companies to pursue, that's what they'll pursue because if not, they'll face the wrath. They'll yank the money, they'll yank the loans, they'll yank the funding because it's all about the money. And
Isn't it always?
if you're a CEO, you're like, do I piss off my consumer base, or maybe hope I can massage them, or do I piss off the people who are actually funding me, and they're between a rock and a hard place. So they're between a black rock and a hard place. The same is true in Hollywood. She states that she thinks Huh. She states that she thinks. I mean, wasn't that what she was in? Like, Hollywood. Anyway, DEI has swept through that place. The Academy Awards and nominations are only available to films that hit certain quotas, right? You have to be a certain number of people who are black or BIPOC. BIPOC. Oh, what? Uh, uh, by people of color. Anyway, trans, non-binary, whatever is totally the antithesis of what artistic work is about. And yes, it is true. You cannot make art when you got this rule and this rule and this rule, and you got to set this, it has to be this exactly and that exactly. And it's not art anymore. It's paint by numbers, and it's very badly done.
Yeah, it kills anything creative that you might want to do.
Now on to what BlackRock, the biggest names in BlackRock, have said themselves. Larry Fink, fitting name. The CEO of BlackRock said during New York Times Deal Book Conference back in 2017, well, behaviors are going to have to change. And this one thing that we're asking companies, you have to force behaviors. And at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors. 54% of the incoming class are women. You have to force behaviors, and if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And that's not just recruiting, it's development, as Ken said, and ultimately it's still going to take time. But I am just as much shocked as Ken that we have not seen more opportunities and we're going to have to force change. I mean, how many times this man got to say force? He's got a fetish going on.
Ain't that
Fetish.
the truth?
Gotta force it. Gotta force it. It worked out. We gotta work it back in. The reality is the majority, the unheard spoken majority, really like what we are doing. Yeah, that's what he said. And this is a few years later, and I believe it was 2022, his tone was a little different. It's like, yeah, most of these people love what we're doing and what we're saying. I'm not happy with the narrative because it fills the airwaves, and we have to spend a lot of time to be clear. I spend a lot more time in Washington and states. I'm trying to correct the narrative because in most the narrative is not based on facts; it's based on somebody else's view of the facts. So he's basically said people like us are dirtying up his airwaves. Kind of like noise pollution, right? That
Yeah.
it's like they're putting the noise pollution out there, which I'm most definitely trying to do. I'm trying to bring the fucking noise.
Yeah, well, we need
If
some help.
if even a little, like mouse squeak, it's some noise, right?
Yeah, we'll get enough mice together and see what happens.
You
You
fucking
got Willard on your hands.
screaming rat party from hell.
Yeah.
So he's claiming, oh, everybody loves it. It's just those people making noise, and we have to. And if you read into it, he's saying he has to go to Congress, and he has to lobby to shut people up. If you read into it, that's what I'm reading into it
Yeah, he's
anyway.
basically he's saying he has to eradicate the voices of people
Okay,
that don't agree with him.
these companies essentially have endless money, and we all know this. But where is their money coming from?
That's a very good question. Well,
It's like, what what does BlackRock do? They bend you over and ram it. Okay,
ew,
yeah,
no, ew.
no, but really, you ask somebody what do they do? That's gonna be the best answer you're gonna get.
Yeah. Well, I think,
In general, I'm sure people know exactly what they do, but still, the question is, where do you essentially get unlimited funds to bend people over and ram them up the back end?
yeah. Well, my thing is, I've been saying this for a very long time. The only way people like us is going to get anything accomplished is if we quit giving people like them money, quit buying their games, quit going to their movies, and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
but it's kind of like imagine telling the general people under 40 to quit buying iPhones and see how well that goes over. That's the problem. The people are comfortably ignorant, willfully comfortably ignorant, and they're like, it don't affect none for me, and then I'm gonna keep on, that whole uh,
Yeah.
fence sitting attitude.
It's like that Pink Floyd song, Comfortably Numb.
Yeah. Okay. Gonna wrap this one up. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, donate, and all that stuff. And we're out.